Okay, everybody, how's it going? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The weekend. That's it. How y'all been? Howdy. We're gonna be doing some Elite Dangerous today. Yeah, I've got a lot of work that I gotta get done. So yeah, we're building another Coriolis, as you can see in front of yet another water world. This might actually be the ugliest water world I think I've ever seen. But the system that it's in, it's pretty sweet. You know, it's been a busy week in Elite. I was thinking between this and Once Human, we might do some more Once Human like later today. I'm still deciding. But yeah, it's been there's been a lot of news, a lot of drama. It's just been there's a lot going on. There's just no other way to get to it. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun in here. Basically, you guys are keeping me company while I get all of this hauling done. I'm a little over halfway through it, so there's still got to be like at least a couple more fleet carrier runs before this thing is done. But hey, not too bad for 2 days of work. So yeah, you know, it's been a long week. I'm happy to be back, and you know, there's not really a whole lot of like stream stuff to catch up on. We're still just kind of doing our thing out here, just having some time, you know, having some good times in between all of the real life stuff that we got going on. But in Elite, yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot this week. A lot of big announcements, a lot of drama, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. That's kind of what we gotta do when we're kind of stuck doing this all day, right? God, that didn't even move the bar at all. Okay, well, you know, that's fine. I'm really feeling that 10%. That 10% extra that they need for the primary colony. It's pretty rough. But like I've claimed a couple of different water worlds out here near the Lagoon Nebula. So hey, there's the nebula. How's it going over there? And things are moving along. You know, they have mostly moved on towards the Trifid Nebula, and then I would assume towards Omega after that. You know, I was looking around a little bit I took my Mandalay up there and started scouting some of the systems, see if there was really anything worthwhile. There's a lot along the way, but when you actually get to the nebulas themselves, I think the skybox looks a lot cooler with the blue. But neither Trifid or Omega really had a whole lot that really interested me. It was more stuff along the way than in the actual nebula itself. I might go up there once they reach it and like claim something just to have the nice skybox. But I don't really see it being as much of a hub for me personally as Lagoon. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time working on this system, the past couple of systems, and try and get it built up. Because one thing I have noticed is that the Lagoon Nebula, there's still a lot of really good slots out here. I mean, you're probably not going to get too much in terms of water worlds or Earthlikes or anything like that at this point, but there's still some pretty chunky systems around, and even inside the nebula itself, that you can really work with. But the big thing that I've noticed is that a lot of these are really not built up at all. So if you really want to make this a new bubble, like, you've got a lot of potential. There's a lot of these systems inside, outside, even if they don't have like the water worlds and all of that, they've got a lot of bodies and can really be built up. Most of these inside, they're just like little single outpost systems. So we could really use a little bit out this way to try and get some population up, get some more materials and some more colonization activity. So yeah, you know, come on up. You got plenty of room, but they've really gone a good ways out. They're about halfway to Trifid right now, I think. But like I said, I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I think they've kind of passed through the patch that was nothing but like brown dwarfs or whatever. But they're making their way. It's not as long of a jaunt as it was from the original bubble to Lagoon. But yeah, like I said, I didn't really see a whole lot actually near the nebulas themselves. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out here along the way that you can kind of play around with if you're so inclined. But for me, I really want to kind of get my 3 systems out here built up. I mean, I've got a couple more than that I can play with if I need to. But it's really these 3, the start of the Diamond Frog Gate to welcome people into the nebula. So we've got 2 water worlds right here. This one, not as interesting. It's all ice balls, but the water world is terraformable, so I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to go. But yeah, as you can see, I don't even really have any landing slots. I got this one ice rock right here that doesn't even have anything special with it, so it's not as good of a system. But the one that I'm in right now, This one's going to be interesting. I'm really wanting to build this up. I've got a lot of stuff that I got to get done in the last one we were working on, the 2-mast system. That's kind of the main gate into the lagoon. But this one, I mean, you can see it's chonky. But what I really like about it a little bit more than the 2-mast system that I've got is that the biologicals are not on ice rocks, so I can actually turn them into like genuine agricultural economies if I need to. But it's got a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. With a little work, I think I can really turn this into a rainbow system. Plenty of geologicals, plenty of biologicals. Got my water world right here. And yeah, just a lot of fun stuff to work with. So we'll see how that goes. I do want to get the T3 done in the last system. So I don't know which one of those I'm going to work on first. But yeah, this will be the Diamond Frog Visitor Center as we get ready to go in. And you can see it's like right in the center. Nice little entry. Nice little entry gate into the lagoon itself. So yeah, we can play around and figure out what we're going to do with it. But this one, it doesn't have as much. I've already got it built up a little bit, which is nice. I've got pretty much everything that I need inside here in terms of colonization materials. But God, that T3, I'm just staring it down. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We'll see. But first of all, we got to get this thing done. We got to get this thing done, and then we'll worry about where we're going to take the Diamond Frogs after that and what we're going to do with these systems, right? But yeah, for those that haven't been keeping up, today or this week, They officially started announcing a little bit with the new ship, the new feature that's coming out. And probably the big thing that caused a lot of controversy, the dodecahedron space station. Now, bear in mind, they were really fast to change their tune when we start talking about this. So, you know, they have officially confirmed that it is going to be a paid station. It'll be the largest station that you can build, T3, with stat bonuses and tech brokers, right? But they have reverse course on it. Originally, they were planning that it was just going to be a one-time permanent unlock, and it was only available for ARCs, right? And as you can imagine, that got people riled up. They have since reversed course and have said that it will work like the early access ships. They don't know the time frame yet, but it'll be roughly the same as the ships, where it will be available to all players after a certain amount of time. So, you know, I think that was good on FDev to go through and reverse course on that. I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah, it's like 50k arcs. It's a lot. It's a lot. But it does come with, and this is still kind of a sticking point for some people, it does come with an instant drop. You can only use it once. So you get to choose one system where you can instantly build your T3 as long as it meets all of your other requirements. So that's really the benefit to buying it instead of waiting until it actually comes out. Once you pop that one down, you got to build the rest of them just like you would any other T3, which, as you just saw, it's a lot of work. I mean, I've done a lot of colonization, but I'm more interested in, you know, building out a system and moving to new areas than just working all of that into one station, right? It's a lot. There's just no way around it. But yeah, it was a big deal. You know, it's interesting because here on this channel, if you guys watch us a lot, we do a little bit of everything. We play all kinds of games. We do all kinds of stuff with all kinds of different monetization strategies. And even to me, who is very well versed in a lot of MTX stuff, right? I genuinely don't know what they were thinking, trying to make it permanently locked behind ARCs. But not even just that, but just the price of it alone, right? You know, I think at this point, we kind of have to understand that just the gaming ecosphere, regardless of whether you think it's good or bad or whatever, right? It's just the nature of how gaming is that battle passes and paid cosmetics and all of this stuff is here. There's just no getting around it. So you kind of have to think on a personal level, like, where is your line, right? What are you willing to buy? What are you not willing to buy? And for me personally, like, I don't hate the idea of paid stations. I like that they brought it out of early access. That we are eventually going to be able to get it for whatever, right? But I don't hate in concept the idea of paying for things. I mean, I'm flying the Panther Clipper. We've already paid for a bunch of these EA ships already, right? I'm just kind of used to it. But it really comes down to the value of what you're getting out of it, right? In the station, I don't know what they were thinking, man. Like, it's a combination of a lot of things. For one thing, 50k arcs is what, like $37 or something like that. That is a lot. I mean, you look at just about any game, any MMO, and it's easy to look at like a lot of these inflated prices and everything, and say, oh, that's not that bad these days compared to like a gacha game, right? But 37's a lot for really any kind of asset, cosmetic, non-cosmetic, really anything. The only thing that I can think of for something to be kind of comparable would be like a level boost, right? I mean, we don't really have anything that's directly comparable because Elite doesn't have levels, but if you think of it like that, as, you know, a one-time thing to instantly get what you paid for, that instantly drops into anything you want. It's kind of like a level boost, right? And it's right in between, you know, Final Fantasy 14 at like $25 for an instant boost to any job, or WoW, which is $60 for a level 80 boost, right? So it's right there in the middle. But when you look at what you're getting out of it, like, that's a lot of money for not a whole lot. It would be one thing if it was a ship, right? Because ships are what you're actually playing. And that's the thing with like a level boost is, yeah, $60 is a lot for a level 80 boost in WoW, but it's your character. It's what you're playing. It's the whole point of the game, right? When you look at the station, like really, you know, we don't know what the stats are going to be. So it could be 30 to 50% higher. There could be a lot of stuff involved with that, right? We don't know what the stats are. We won't know until Tuesday when it's released. But just in general, like, the cosmetics of it weren't that great. Like, it just kind of looks like a big Coriolis. So, I mean, it's already got a negative point there, right? But it's also, it's just entirely passive. You know, you don't really get a whole lot out of constructing a station. You know, you get to put your name on a little bit of a space, but it's not like you get taxes from the station. It's not like you get a whole lot of passive income from it. It doesn't really help the commander at all in any way. It's not anything remotely close to the same level as the ship that you fly, right? So just looking at it from just a value perspective, just what are you getting for what you're paying for? Really not a whole lot out of it except for the tech broker. The tech broker is really the one thing. And to be honest, I don't really go to tech brokers all that much. It'd be different if it was material traders. I think if this is how they're going to introduce things, and this is something that they carry forward onto other stations, I think material traders are just going to be, it's almost inevitable at this point. Like, if we're going to have these new bubbles like out here in the lagoon, we're going to need material traders. And if that was going to be the case for the Dodec, you might have had a little bit more argument for the cost. But as it is, I mean, it's a lot of money for not really getting a whole lot out of it. It's really just you get the one-time drop. And even then, from a time perspective, yeah, T3s are really annoying, but it doesn't take nearly as long to build a T3 as it does to level a character to, you know, level 100 in FF14, which you can do for half the price of a Dodec, right? So, you know, from that, from just a value perspective, I mean, again, it's all subjective. You know, there's some people that I know that just will not pay for any kind of MTX in any game whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine too. And then you have me that's kind of used to it. And I've paid $40 for a cosmetic whale. You know, it's just a mount, but it is still something that I get to, you know, fly around on. For me personally, it just wasn't worth it. The value proposition of what you were getting for a station for $37 was not worth it. I would rather just spend my couple of weekends a month just building a T3 on my own rather than doing that. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But you know, there were also a lot of other arguments. There was a lot of pay to win stuff, you know, going on. I don't necessarily think it was. I mean, it was pay to win, but I don't think it's nearly as dramatic, I think, as something like the Python Mark II. Like that was, I mean, the P2's just straight up one of the best combat ships in the game. You know, that was, you'd probably have a little bit more of an argument, but I do think that the station is in some ways pay to win. I know there's a lot of people that are like, what are you getting out of it and all that. I really don't think that the stat boost can be underestimated. I've seen a lot of arguments on the official forums and stuff. It's like, oh, population doesn't really matter. Yeah, it fucking does. Yeah, it really does. I think a lot of people are looking at it from an individual perspective. What do you as an individual get out of it? And not from the perspective of like squadrons, right? As someone that is in one of the most notorious BGS-focused squadrons in the game, yeah, population matters. It matters a lot. It matters a huge difference. Now, is there a huge difference between 700 million and 1.1 billion? At the top end, no, it's going to be slow either way. But there is absolutely a difference in population between having a single outpost in a system versus, you know, 600, 700 million people. You know, dropping a T3 into a system is essentially a BGS nuke. There's just no way around it. You know, a single outpost, I can get that done in 2 or 3 days just by myself, just casually doing a doing a few missions here and there, doing my BGS work that I do and all of my little tricks that I'm used to, just very casually. I've had to do it for several systems now, trying to flip things over to the old froggies, right? Get us our conversion points. But if we start looking at a system that's 1.1 billion, I mean, that's several weeks of very concerted effort from a lot of players in our squadron. Yeah, the argument that, oh, population doesn't matter because some spreadsheet says it's, you know, diminishing returns or whatever. Yeah, that's bullshit. I've seen how much work we do. I see how many people are in our Discord, you know, affecting how much influence each day when we tried to flip these big systems. And yeah, it's a major difference. But again, that's very much like a squadron focused thing. And to be honest, with colonization and all of that now, yeah, I don't know how many people are as BGS focused as they used to be, even among the big squadrons. We still are. We still have our you know, secret channels and stuff that we talk in to make sure we know where we are going and to make sure that the systems that we want and the systems that we have, we're able to affect them the way that we want. But you can kind of tell, even among a lot of the BGS guys, that the colonization stuff is it's kind of tempered it down. It's still mostly focused in the bubble. And, you know, the other side of this thing is as well that, like, a lot of colonization stuff, the population isn't really going to matter anyway, because there's kind of an unspoken rule that you don't mess with someone else's system, right? You know, if it's a colony, you don't typically see a whole lot of people messing with other architects. One, there's just too many other systems out there that you can take for yourself. It's a big wide galaxy. Just go build your own thing, right? So, you know, I don't really see a whole lot of people getting mad or getting into fights over an architect's BGS. So, you know, that's the other part of it too. I think, yes, population absolutely is a major factor when it comes to stuff like that. But how much does it actually affect things in reality? I've never had anyone mess with any of my systems, and I don't think there's really been a whole lot of other people that have been complaining about it either. Unless you just really make someone mad, I don't think you're going to have too many people trying to mess with your factions in a system that you built. It's just, there's too many factors to it. You know, we're all focused on building our own things. We wouldn't appreciate it if someone was coming in messing with our stuff, right? And the other thing is the architect just has too much control. If you really are a BGS-focused player, then you know what building a settlement is going to be able to do, and all of this other stuff. Like, it would be hilariously easy to interrupt any kind of opposition force trying to mess with your own system. Like, it's just, it would be more work trying to take it over than it would be worth. So, you know, looking at it from that side, population is really not going to matter all that much, right? I think the biggest thing that it'll affect is a lot of the secondary influence that happens. You know, things like trade. You know, trade is going to affect your influence. If you have a really popular system, like I'm out here in the lagoon, I had one of the only stations, like, actually close to the lagoon for a little bit. They had CMMs, right? And so I had like 7 or 8 fleet carriers parked outside that, and obviously that affected the influence in the factions while I was trying to flip it, right? And there's really nothing you can do about that except have higher population as a buffer, assuming the faction you want is in control of the system to begin with, right? So, you know, it does provide a little bit of a buffer to that kind of thing. You know, I talked last stream about how much problem I had when the last CG was running, because I had the lowest cobalt apparently anywhere in the bubble. It was cobalt for like 800 a ton. It was nuts. I had something like 20 to 30 fleet carriers parked in my system, and it absolutely tanked the faction that I support, right? It tanked the Diamond Frogs out there because I had not moved them into controlling yet. I'd moved on by then. That was a mistake. Next time I go to the bubble, I'm going to go fix that. But you know, little things like that, I think, would probably be a bigger factor for a lot of people in regards to what population does than anything else. You know, in terms of power play moves too slow. I don't think power play or those arguments are really going to matter all that much. I think we're slowly starting to see power play creep into some of the colonies, but it's so slow, guys. Like, it's not going to be reaching out here to the lagoon anytime in the next couple of years, right? And then BGS, like I said, it absolutely affects BGS. But again, in reality, how much is it really going to do? Like, unless you just made someone mad and they come in to try messing up what you built, no one's going to be messing with the BGS in your system. Go ham. Flip things around as much as you want. If anything, dropping a tier 3 instantly might make it harder for you than anything. So, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on the forums, but that's kind of where I am. Like, yes, it's pay to win in some respects. I think there's a lot of people talking about things they don't really know about when it comes to how a lot of these systems work. But I don't think the influence of the pay to win factor was all that much of a deal. For me personally, it was the price. It was the price for what you get. $37 for a station is just, it's not worth it unless that station's doing something for you. And locking it behind permanent arcs was just a boneheaded move. Like, it would have made, I think, a little more sense if they had waited. And one, it was material traders instead of tech brokers. And two, it actually had a unique station design instead of just being a big Coriolis, right? I think you would have seen a little bit more on each side, like trying to fight for their cause. But as it was a pretty boneheaded move. I think they shot their shot a little too early if that's what they were trying to do. And of course, you know, it's a thing in marketing where you present a really bad option and then pull it back later to make the new option seem more appealing. I can't remember what the term for it is. I learned that years ago in Marketing 101. It's a thing. You don't see it as much nowadays, but I mean, it's still entirely possible that was their plan all along. It's a very old school marketing tactic, but you still see it occasionally. But yeah, either way, that was what happened with all the drama and my thoughts on it. Either way, whatever happens now, everything's set. So the Dodec will be an early access station, so it will eventually unlock for all pilots taking place in colonization after the early access phase is over. And yeah, we're getting a new station, which is interesting. You know, I think it's fun. It's been very interesting to me that they have not been introducing new assets like that. Since that seems to be one of the easiest things that they could probably do is new assets. Like, really, with a station like that, there's not as much that they have to worry about balance-wise. You know, with a ship, you got to balance a lot. You got to balance the hard points. You got to think of how much the space you're going to give it inside. You know, what kind of damage are we talking about? All of these other little factors of station. You know, you just kind of set the size of it and how much you want it to influence certain parts of the economy, and you're good to go, right? It's kind of stupid easy how easy it is to make a new station asset and add it to the game. So I'm not surprised that they added it. I'm more surprised that it took them this long, which kind of leads into the next bit of news, right? Starting Tuesday, our permit lock station down in HIP 87621. I think that's it, right? It's pretty bad that I've gotten numbers memorized at this point. I think that's what it is. But yeah, the permanent lock, the big storyline that's going on down there, that is officially opening Tuesday. Now, whether or not we will see whatever is involved with this on Tuesday, or if we're going to have more BS we have to go through the next month, who knows? But either way, the next step is going to be Tuesday, whatever that leads to. And I think it's kind of interesting and kind of ties to the whole new assets thing. Personally, I think it probably will be new plants and maybe a few balance changes to exobiology. You know, there's a lot of people saying, oh, we'll get Waterworld life and we can finally go into the atmosphere and stuff. Nah, we're not. That's not going to happen. Not on Tuesday. It might be something they're working towards. They kind of hinted at it with the new ship. That the hull plating has a cool little texture on it, right? And it does look like it has heat shields of some kind. But something like that is probably something they would add for a new feature. That's going to be a big update if they ever add that in. I don't think it's just going to be something they drop on a random Tuesday. I think it'll just be regular planets with new plants. And, you know, whether or not it is a lot of them, how much value they're worth, all of that stuff, who knows. But I wouldn't be surprised if we finally get some new plant life out and about. It just seems like that's what they've been leading up to for too long. They've mentioned it so many times over the course of this story. It would be strange if it wasn't. And honestly, it would be strange if it wasn't just from the perspective of it being a proc-gen game, right? Because new assets are really one of the easiest things they could add in to the game to kind of add a little bit more variety, right? No Man's Sky does it a lot. Minecraft does it a lot. It's really not hard. As long as your new assets are not affecting the underlying terrain, you can really kind of add them wherever you want, right? Plants are unique because they're not part of the Stellar Forge. They weren't generated when the galaxy was created. Instead, they're using data that the Stellar Forge made and then determining where they go from there, right? Determine, oh, you know, Stellar Forge made, you know, this planet with carbon dioxide, so we can put this plant on any planet that potentially has carbon dioxide on it or whatever, you know. So really, the only thing they got to do is make the asset and then finagle it so it doesn't, you know, end up floating a mile in the sky or a meter off the ground or something like that. But in terms of actually getting it added in and adding it to not only just new systems, it would be pretty easy to retroactively add it, since again, it's not not affecting the terrain underneath. Which it shouldn't. They've already, the Odyssey already recalculated how all of the planets are generated, which is why we don't get a lot of the cool canyons and stuff nowadays, right? There's really nothing that they've done since Odyssey came out that should affect the underlying blender sphere that they have underneath all of the planets that everything grows off of, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. It's just how exciting is it going to be? Who knows? It could just be a single plant. It could be a wide variety of new plants. It could just be like 5 different new types of 7 million credit grass. I don't know. You know, who can really say? We'll find out in like 3 days. But that's what I'm leaning towards. Again, I don't think all of this speculation about atmospheres and water worlds, people have been speculating on that for years now. I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to move on to something else. If they do something like that, that's going to be a big announcement and a big new feature. It's not just going to be something they're just dropping at the end of a storyline on a random Tuesday. It's just not going to happen. If for no other reason than because the file size of it is something you've kind of got to give your community a heads up about. They were suddenly going to add Waterworld Flight. Like, that's going to add like 5 gigs to the game, right? So yeah, don't expect that on Tuesday. But I am excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what all of the weird power play stuff they've had going on is going to lead to around the system. Like, why is everyone after this after this so much? And, you know, I got to make my way back to the bubble anyway, so you know, I might hop over there and see what's going on with it. Yeah, there's a lot of questions with the Tuesday patch. They said it's going to be a balance patch. It'll be finalizing colonization. They're going to be rebalancing ground combat. They're going to be doing some other stuff with some missions. And basically, it's just going to be a very big balance patch to finalize some systems and get things prepped up for operations, which is the new feature. We will talk about that in a little bit. So I think there's going to be a lot that's kind of waiting on what the balance changes are. I think the big one that people are waiting on is emergency power cells. Are we still going to need those? Can the Dodec craft them? It's by far the single most annoying part of colonization, and really the only reason I would need to go back to the bubble at this point. But, you know, until we see on Tuesday if they're getting rid of those or replacing them, who knows? I'm going under the assumption they're still going to be here. So I got to make my way back. I'm getting a little low. I got this big-ass system I got to build. So I'm going to start making my way back, and maybe I'll hop over there and see what's going on. Yeah, I'm kind of excited with it. It is weird if it is going to be new plants, new exobiology updates, something like that. That they're releasing it so much earlier than the new ship, the Caspian. Which, by the way, we're going to talk about that a lot, too. But, you know, at the very least, it'll kind of give us a heads up on what to kind of expect. Maybe even tell us whether or not the Caspian is worth it. I mean, it's absolutely worth it. I think the Caspian's a day one purchase for me. Not even a question on that one. But yeah, it is kind of odd that they're doing that. But I am curious what some of these other balance changes are going to bring. Is ground combat going to be harder, easier? Is it going to be changing up all of our strategies? Like, are they gonna be messing up my usual you know, power pulling strategies? Like, I've got a routine on that. Don't mess it up too much. I like my routine with pulling plugs. I need to do that. But, you know, it's nice that they are giving some love to some of these other stations, some of these other systems within the game. I think it's been sorely needed. I think it's been sorely asked for. So it's really nice that they are acknowledging it, and we're finally getting some bug fixes and that kind of thing. So, you know, I think we're headed in a good direction. You know, aside from the Dodec debacle, which they reversed course on anyways, I think Elite's headed in a good direction. You know, I know it's really easy to rag on Elite. I see it all the time. Like, God, I like my squadron, but the Diamond Frogs can be very negative, even to other squadron members, when it comes to having any kind of hope for the game. It's like, dude, just let people get excited, right? And I know why they do it. Like, they want to temper expectations, because after Odyssey came out, a lot of people left. They had their expectations too high and ended up getting disappointed and leaving the game, right? But I mean, at this point, if you like the game, you like the game. If you don't like the game, then you don't like the game. Like, there's really not a whole lot that's going to change that at this point. Most of the people that are looking at a lot of these updates and stuff and getting excited are probably either people that already play it or people that might be excited to come back to the game because they played it before. In terms of attracting new players and stuff, that's a whole other thing. But I don't think building on top of any of this stuff is really going to make people leave, right? So there's really not a whole lot of reason to be super negative and like try tempering expectations for a lot of stuff. Because if you like the gameplay loop as it is now, then everything else is just it's kind of a bonus, right? If it ends up being disappointing, okay, I still got a lot of stuff I got to build, so, you know, I'm not going anywhere over it. But yeah, you know, it's really easy, I think, for a lot of elite old heads to get super negative on FDev and that kind of thing. But I think they're going in a pretty good direction. And I think it's also important to note that the FDev that I think a lot of the old heads are kind of used to is not the FDev that we're kind of dealing with right now, right? It's just a lot of the people that originally worked on this game and were very kind of bullheaded about a lot of their design choices and that kind of thing, they're not around anymore. The dev team that people had problems with during the Dangerous games, they don't exist. The industry's changed too much. They were laid off, they retired. Pretty much the whole dev team, I think, at this point has likely been replaced, right? Which, bear in mind, I don't think that's a good thing. I hate how the first response of just about any kind of a drama within the gaming community is layoffs. I don't think that's how it should be. We just had some more from Rockstar today as well. So I mean, that's super shitty that people are losing jobs. But either way, that's what happened, and until it changes, that's what's going to continue to happen. But for the sake of this discussion, that is what happened, and the FDev that you guys had issues with probably is not a whole lot of the same team that we have now. And I think that the new team, I think they're kind of getting rid of a lot of the old philosophies under Brabham's days, right? And they're really kind of excited to try new things and really have a lot of really good ideas for the game. I think that's great. But now you have the other problem that really any tech company has when they bring in a lot of new devs into a very old game engine. And that's that all of the newer devs don't have 10 years of experience working with Cobra, right? So they have a lot of good ideas and they're really pushing forward and getting them implemented. But there's a lot they got to figure out about how the Cobra engine works, how these things interact, and actually just physically getting them to work in the game. So you're seeing a lot more ideas and a lot more content, but you're also seeing a lot more bugs. You're seeing a lot of ideas that they probably want to implement, but they still don't quite know how to do it yet because they don't know the engine all that well. They don't know. They weren't there when it was built, right? So I think it's a case where I think overall things are moving in a very good direction, but you still got to be kind of patient with them. It's not going to be perfect. There's still going to be bugs. There's still going to be disappointment, but I think they are trying, and I think the devs are learning. All of these young guns that have been brought in over the past couple of years to replace the old team, I think they're learning. I think they do have a lot of really good ideas. I'm excited to see what they can do, but they're not going to be able to do anything magical all at once. It's like working on any other kind of PC-based project, right? You try something breaks, and then you got to spend a day on YouTube learning how to fix it. And then, hey, you learn something new until the next thing breaks. So it's just one thing at a time. But I am excited to see where it's going to go. And I think the new ship is going to be another big step forward onto it. I'm a little split personally in terms of new ships having unique modules. I would really like them to go and do a pass on a lot of old ships so that these modules are not exclusive. We don't know what the new module is going to be on the Caspian, but it very clearly has something. It's got, those two bays underneath, and one of them is absolutely gigantic. So whether or not it's a new SRV or what, who knows? But yeah, I feel like we were talking about the pay to win stuff a little bit earlier. I think unique modules to a ship, it's kind of scummy and tries to get people to pay for it. But at the very least, it's early access, so eventually you'll be able to get it for credit. So it's, it lessens the blow a little bit. But I think they do need to do some kind of balance pass with the old ships so they're not completely irrelevant. And maybe bring some of these modules, work on trying to get them some like universal modes, even if it has to be through engineering, so you can retrofit an Anaconda with the new mining laser or something, give us the option. And maybe that's something they're still working on. They just introduced these, so it's going to be a little bit. But aside from that, I think the Caspian looks great. I said, it really is a cross between the Defiant and the Voyager. It really does have the Star Trek vibe. And right now, I've been all about Star Trek and, and some of the older '90s sci-fi stuff. Right. I really like the design. I really like the cockpit placement. I mean, it's built into the hull. It's part of the ring, which is really cool. You know, if you go and look at some of the screenshots, especially some of the ones people have been posting of the underside, it's really easy to focus on the plating texture because everyone's curious what that's about. But take a second when you're looking at those photos and look at the cockpit, because it is basically just a giant windowed floor. So when you step inside that thing and you're flying around, it is going to be absolutely gorgeous. It hands down one of the best views of any ship I think we've had so far. I am really excited about it. You know, the neutron jumping, I don't really neutron jump. It kind of defeats the purpose of my exploration, which is to, you know, explore. If I'm just trying to get from A to B as fast as possible, I feel like I'm not really exploring all that much. Maybe one day when I finally do that Beagle Point run I've been talking about for 2 years. Maybe. But I don't really do neutron jumping. I'm more curious about some of the other stats. What kind of options it's going to have. What its heat dispersion is going to look like. You know, obviously what the jump range is going to look like. You know, little things like that. But just the fact that it is another large explorer, I really did not expect that. Even remotely, that was not even on my list of things. I thought it was going to be a passenger ship, personally. I thought we were finally going to get a new Saud Kruger and maybe get an update to passenger missions. I was way wrong on that. But I'm not going to say no to a large exploration ship. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what the internals look like, what the jump range is going to look like. But you know, as someone that's been itching to go back into deep space for a while, finally round out those 10,000 first discoveries. It's about time. I think it'll be a really good opportunity too, especially if it is going to be paired with some new plant life. Because I'm getting low on funds, so I need to go scan some plants anyways. It'll be a good excuse too. And yeah, it's a gorgeous ship. But you know, at the same time, I still maintain that they do need to do a pass on old ships and kind of make them a little bit, make them a little more competitive, if for no other reason, because a lot of the old ships, even if they're no longer best in slot or whatever, a lot of them are gorgeous. I don't want to get rid of my cutter. The cutter's one of the most gorgeous ships in the game. Why would I want to get rid of it? You know, I want it updated so I can still use it and get some nice screenshots with it. Same with my Anaconda. I think that's the ship that most people know me for. You know, the old clout kicker. I still break it out every now and then, but I mean, I gotta admit, when I'm trying to travel from one side of the galaxy to the other, it's really hard to justify not bringing the Mandalay. You know, my next trip out, I think I'm going to take the FC. So I'll at least have my whole fleet with me if I do want to get some screenshots and stuff. But, you know, I would like to have my Anaconda out. The Anaconda's the kind of ship design that I was dreaming about when I wrote my books, right? So I want to use it. Let me update it. Let me give it better SEO handling. Come on. Even if it has to be done through engineering, I'm fine with that. I'm already deep in the well as it is. What's another few hundred hours at this point? But yeah, I would like them as part of these balance changes and these updates that they're doing on Tuesday. I hope they do something with the old ships. Even a couple of minor things would probably go a long way to keeping these ships relevant and give us an excuse to use them. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, you got the Caspian, and then you got operations. Operations kind of whatever. Kind of funny that 10 years later we're finally getting dungeons. in Elite. I'm curious how it's going to go. The on-foot stuff, it's really going to be dependent on what happens on Tuesday and how much they can update it, because the on-foot combat stuff right now is really not great. The projectile speed is very wonky on a lot of them. Everything feels very stiff. Nice and easy if you want to get your combat rank up. But it is very, very stiff, especially since I've been playing a lot of, Once Human and stuff lately. Getting an actual, third or first person shooter in there. So yeah, we'll just have to see what the balance changes bring, and that's going to probably go a long way to determining whether or not operations are going to be worth it. And yeah, I'll probably do them. I like the idea of queuing up for dungeons. I mean, obviously, our main game here on the channel is FF14. I'd hope we like dungeons, but they are going to have to do a lot of work to make them really interesting. I was talking in the Squadron Discord the other day too, that the other big thing that they're going to have to learn really fast if they are going to be introducing this to the game is itemization. Yeah, they're going to have to make sure that the rewards are worth it. That's something that even MMOs that were built from the ground up as theme park MMOs have trouble with sometimes. So we'll see if they can get it done. What kind of rewards are we going to be getting for doing these operations? Are we talking materials? Are we talking power play stuff? Like, what's the deal? I would like some different ways and more interesting ways to get things like encoded mats. It sucks having to go to Jameson's crash site. I hate going there. Same with Braintree farming. Yeah, it's easy, but it's just so boring and uninteresting. If they can give us another pathway to get some of these materials, that would be great. Are they introducing new stuff? Are they introducing new gear? Who knows? We got basically no details about it, other than it's like a two-phase thing, 2 or 3 phases. And yeah, you start out in a fight in space, and then you move into a mega ship and do some combat in there. They're all static locations, so they're all, separate instances from the real-time game world. And we'll just have to wait and see what that means. But a lot of it's going to depend on how it feels to play and what you actually get out of it. They've never really done anything like that before, and it's going to be really interesting to see if they can pull it off. Is going from no itemization at all to having to itemize your rewards all at once, that's a big difference. That's a big shift for them. I'm excited, though. I mean, I think one thing Elite has definitely needed is something for just quick bursts of play, right? If you can find a war, you can go and do a conflict zone really fast, I guess. That sort of counts. But they don't really have anything like, oh, I've got an hour before work. What can I do hopping into the game that I can get done really quick, that's a lot of fun, and gets me something out of it, right? Because Elite, in general, is a very long-term game, right? Everything you do takes a very, very long time. We've been at this an hour, and I still have not unloaded all of my fleet carrier to this colonization ship. So, it's a very slow-paced game. It does need something that you can just hop in and do really quick. And maybe operations can be that. I don't think they're going to be as involved as a traditional MMO dungeon. I don't even know if they'll be as involved as finding a wrecked frigate in No Man's Sky. Who knows? But I think it is an interesting new bit of content that will give players some options, especially if they don't have a lot of time on their hands. So that's nice. I appreciate that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But they did say that that's not coming out until next year. They had to push it back. Who would have thought? Never would have seen that one, right? But yeah, it kind of got buried a little bit. Not a whole lot of people talking about it, partially because, we just don't have a lot of info. It's not coming out until next year. We don't really know a whole lot about it aside from some screenshots and just a very base level overview. But between the Dodec and the Caspian, People kind of glossed over what the actual new feature was, right? There's been all this hype for the new feature on different Reddits and the official forums and stuff, and then they actually announced the new feature, and it just kind of gets buried all under all the other news. But I am excited about it. We'll see. You know, Vanguard's was kind of whatever. But most of the other new features they've added in, I think they've done a pretty good job with them. I mean, you look at us doing this right now. I mean, we've done a lot with Trailblazers. I mean, Trailblazers is one of the most significant updates to the game they've done since Odyssey. Is it all that interesting? The actual gameplay loop's not. But to say that it's not interesting that now we have space stations and stuff in the Lagoon Nebula, that's pretty significant. You know, the actual work itself might not be all that interesting. Might even be kind of off-putting for players, but the impact that it's had on the game, I think, is very, very real. I think a lot of aspects of the game are kind of tied around colonization now. A lot of the socialization, a lot of the gameplay loops. I mean, yeah, Trailblazers, huge. In fact, really, Vanguards, I think, is the only one that was just kind of like, it's kind of nice. There's a nice UI update. But I think Operations will go back to doing more of what they've been doing with a lot of this other stuff. And bringing us something kind of hefty. Something kind of hefty. Yeah, let's see where I'm at. 350K, let's go. Let's make this two seasons running. Can I break 1 million this time? Well, I got time. Trying to fit in as much as I can during my weekends now that I can't really do as much before after work. I try fitting in a little bit of hauling, but like by the time I get out of work at 7 a.m., I'm tired, man. I can't sit here hauling for 7 hours straight like I was before I got this job. But yeah, we're getting it done. I'm staring down that T3 and that other system, and I'm kind of hurting. I'm kind of getting the sweats. But it is going to help that I think this system's going to be really interesting. I am very excited to see what I can do with this one and really build it up as much as I can. This will probably be the first time that I've really wanted to go completionist with the system. So we'll see if I get it done or not, or if I get the itch to start moving on. But we really need a nice hub, like in or around the nebula itself. We've got they did a really good job building out the chain. There's a really good hub, rainbow system on the way here, and it's within a fleet carrier jump, but it's still like 300 out. In terms of like, hey, come check out the nebula and see the sights. There's not a whole lot yet. So I'm going to try and do my part and try and get something interesting built up here so people have a reason to actually come out and visit, you know, to actually spend some time out here and maybe do some missions and actually make this a little bubble. It just is not going to happen if we don't build up some of these stuff in the nebula. It feels weird saying that as a diamond frog, given our reputation, but you know, I want to try doing my part as I guess an olive branch to Macoon, who's put in a lot of work out here. Be like, hey, anarchy can be fun too, right? Look, we're helping. But it is going to be a nice system. I'm very excited to see what we can do. I haven't really gone out to scan a whole lot of it. The only downside with it is it's just not in a good position compared to 2MASS. But 2MASS will be a nice gateway once I get that T3 built. And then, you know, you can actually go into this. It's like entering the Grand Canyon, right? This is the National Park Visitor Center where you pay your $30 a vehicle. And then you go on in. There you go. That was kind of my initial idea, building this for the frogs. This would be the Chief Cameron Russo Visitor Center. And then you actually enter the nebula proper through the entry gate. Now that I've got this, it's such a good good system. I don't want to ignore it. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this one too. I don't want to leave the water world hanging. But there's just not as much interesting being... It doesn't have as much potential. Aside from the water world, that's really about the only thing that one has. And I've got a water world here, so, you know, kind of cancels that out. But yeah, you know, if you've been reading the official forums, in the Features of Elite, the System Colonization subforum, Macoon's been posting some really good systems on their route to Trifid. If you want to go and pick up an Earth-like or some more water worlds or something like that. They've been very open about what's along the way. You might have to build some mini chains and stuff. But yeah, they have a lot of good systems. Oh, speaking of, if any of the Mercs and Macoon are watching this, or really anyone that remembers the drama. So you guys remember who... You remember the whole drama with the Bug Nebula, right? And that kind of kicked off the whole colonization sniping discussion. You know, someone went in, sniped it, and all of that. I know who it is at this point, or at least I know someone who is very closely related to whoever did it. It turns out that their fleet carrier had stopped in my system for a little bit. And, you know, that's usually not too big of a deal. I had a lot of fleet carriers going through my system for a little bit, right? But what kind of raised my eyebrows with this one is this fleet carrier was owned by a squadron that us Diamond Frogs really don't care for. And we've fought with them a couple of times in the past. And sure enough, we push them around wherever we get the chance. We do not like the squadron. So that kind of raised my eyebrows. Like, are they really going to try starting drama in my system after how much the Diamond Frogs kicked their ass down in the bubble? Right? So I started doing my research, and it turns out this fleet carrier, the only other real stop that it was going to was a system owned by the same person that sniped the Bug Nebula. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really have too much of a habit of taking materials and colonizing someone else's station, right? I know there's a couple of sites out there where you can put up buy and sell orders to help have people build your station, but I don't think that was the case on this one. Given the history of their squadron, who some of the people that hang around this squadron, some of their friends are not the greatest of people either, and yeah, so I started doing a little bit of research on it, and I'm fairly certain I have an idea of who the mysterious Bug Nebula sniper was, because they've also colonized a couple of systems out here, actually in the Lagoon Nebula at this point. But yeah, it's very clearly an alt account of someone else, and yeah, I think their main or their alt, whichever one is which, made the mistake of going into a system for a very, very notorious squadron that really hates them. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing to figure out, but it'll be interesting kind of keeping an eye on them. So yeah, that was a fun little bit. All right, but you know, we keep track of who's friends with who's, and generally, if we don't like a squadron, it's usually for some pretty valid reasons. Usually dealing with a lot of real life stuff going on right now, right? So yeah, that was their mistake, bringing their FC into one of my colonies. It's another good reason to bring us out here, right? You know, you wouldn't have a lagoon without some frogs, but the good part of that for all of my neighbors is that we're very vigilant about a lot of different things. And typically we don't try and start trouble unless he's started trouble with us to begin with. So, you know, whoever's getting it deserves it more than likely. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll see what happens. All right, was that, is this the last load that I need to carry? Can I finally start making my way back? I think I've still got like 2 more full fleet carrier holds to fill. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, speaking of that person, you know. Oh. But hey, you know, maybe maybe be a little less obvious with your alts, man. All right, but yeah, I think I've still got 2 more. I think I've still got 2 more full fleet carriers. Man, the Panther, it does help, and I think it's been kind of like, in its own way, a stealth nerf to colonization hauling, but it's still a lot, right? There's no getting around it. You know, the disco pages that I use, you can set it by tons needed or by the number of runs, right? And I always set it by the number of runs, because that's a much better idea of the effective time that it's going to take me. And yeah, it definitely made a big difference getting the Panther Clipper and seeing the number of runs required to build some of this stuff go way, way down. But even then, like, you're looking at this and like, I'm looking at my medals and I still got 21 round trips to go. And I'm like, God damn, this is still a lot. It's still a lot. There's just no getting around that. I don't know how the hell I solo built that T3 with a cutter. That's just, before the Trailblazer ships were around at that. That was just madness. That was me being unemployed and having a lot of free time as a streamer. That was content, man. But you know, it's all relative. Dude, that's the hard part with it, is like, yeah, it takes less runs now that I got a Clipper, but already my mind has adjusted. So that like 15 runs is the new 30 runs. And like, you see that and you're just like, oh my God, 15 runs is gonna take forever. And it used to be like, oh yeah, 15 runs, we're down to the wire now. Okay, let's whew. Let's see, what am I gonna do? Because I have not actually gone through and mapped a lot of these planets. So I'm very curious. This one is gonna be a lot of fun. Does this one have my geologicals on it? Yeah, it's got my geologicals. I don't know which one I'm gonna do as industrial, high tech, or whatever. I guess high tech I can kind of put wherever, huh? These are both industrial boosts. Yeah, a lot of terraforming. If they ever actually add in terraforming as an actual thing that actually happens, and you can eventually turn things into Earth-like worlds, I've got 4 candidates. That'd be really neat if I could eventually get 4 Earth-like worlds in one system. But strangely, not the water world. Strangely, not the mud brown water world that I've got. I don't know why that is. Why that one was the one left out. But, you know, I don't make the rules, I guess. Yeah, let me take a look. So, geologicals is extraction and industrial. I don't want to build too much extraction. Extraction's really super easy to get, and it messes a lot with, like, well, I mean, I guess missions aren't going to be a huge deal. We already have control of this system, so I'm not super concerned. That was the whole point of me working in the 2-mass one, was to get it flipped, so that's done. We're in control. So yeah, I'm not... Could do tourism. Tourism's always kind of fun. I like tourism. I don't think a lot of these are super close together, though, is the problem. These two are kind of next to each other. They got like a trinary kind of thing going on here, but I haven't gone out to scan them yet. I should probably do that. Actually see what it looks like on the planet's stage, like surfaces, so I can get an idea of if there's any cool places to build a port. I'm really curious about these 3 being that close. Yeah, you know, this will be nice. This is my first time having organics on something that is not an ice world. So I'd really like to get some farms up and running. It's a very weird spread. Like a lot of these that I can't land on, like they don't have volcanism or really anything. So it's just kind of like, they're just kind of there. They're just kind of like industrial chaff. But then you get some others that do have some nice geological and volcanism and stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun system to build up. I gotta get all this mapped out and planned out. I could use Raven Colonial. I'm not doing that. We're gonna wing it. We're gonna wing it as best as I can and just have some fun building it out, right? But it's got a lot of potential. It's a very fun looking system. We got these two nested, but they're so, the name's so long. I can't see what the distance is on them. It's rude. And then another giant ice ball that's 4 Earth masses. This one that doesn't even have anything. I am curious if they're going to be doing anything with these. Occasionally you get them where they're just little yellow rocks with no atmosphere or anything. And there's really not a whole lot you can do with them. But it's weird that I couldn't land on it. I mean, it's just a rock. I can land. I can build a space station in the middle of an asteroid, but for whatever reason I can't land here. I'd make that make sense, right? But yeah, this will be a very fun project. I'm not sure what it's going to be when it all is said and done. I'm not going to fill up every slot, but I would like to get as much of my economies built up as I can. Really make it a true rainbow, you know? But, you know, one thing at a time. And right now the next thing is finishing up the Coriolis. I got to figure out where I'm going to put our O'Malligans. The old O'Malligans coffee bar and payday loans. I had to find a good spot for that. I guess I can put it around one of these for some tourism. One of these unlandable ones. You know, this has geologicals, but it doesn't have any building slots. So I can put an O'Malligans there. I still haven't franchised out to the lagoon. We got to get that done. It's a Diamond Frog staple. Wouldn't be one of our areas without an O'Malligans. But yeah, I guess people just get like I don't like necessarily hoovering up all of these really good water worlds and stuff, but they were just sitting out here for like 2 weeks. Like no one was really looking at them. And so the only thing that I could figure is that it's because this is a Tauri star. I mean, I almost didn't look at it because it was a Tauri star, right? I didn't even really notice it all that much. Until I actually got into EDSM and started looking. And I looked at how many planets this had on it, and then I started looking at the makeup of it, and it was like, why has no one taken this system yet? It's been sitting out here ever since they colonized, and like, no one was even giving it a second glance. So, yeah. Like, all right. No one else is taking, I'll take these two. You know, I'll build them up. I'd much rather do the work myself and ensure that it gets to be something kind of interesting instead of and just having someone that only plays, you know, every now and then and just leaves it as a single outpost, right? I can get a lot of work done in these systems. So I want to make sure to do what I can. All right. Like I've got steel in my other system, but it's on the surface port. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to build that T3 is so I can get some steel and stuff out here in an orbital. But it's slow going, to say the least. So back to Among Us Hub. They did a good job with this. This is pretty much a rainbow system, I think. I don't know if they ever built the I don't know if they ever built their station that was gonna... Yeah, so they did get a Kaplan Point built. The water was the only thing that they were still trying to get. And it looks like they got it done, so that's nice. But we're going to Among Us. What are we looking at? How much more do we need? It's still a fair amount. I got my 20.66 runs, so 14,778 in steel. Make sure this all matches. 14,778 in steel and 12,045 in titanium. Oh, God, it's still 2 more fleet carriers. It's still so much. And it's gonna suck because I'm gonna be able to get most of this into my FC. And I'm gonna have like 3 or 4K just hanging. So I'm gonna have to make another run somewhere. And it's gonna be really annoying. But maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go back to the maybe I'll go back to my system and just get it from my surface port. Yeah, I think what I really like about this one as much as anything is just the layout's kind of weird. Like we got some interesting nested moons. It's a very interesting layout for being a single star system. Usually these kind of layouts, you end up getting like this, and then you get some like in like a Kuiper belt out here between 2 stars, and then there's another star 100K out that's got some more, bodies around it. This is just kind of an interesting grid for a single sun system. I'm very happy with this. I mean, it would be nice to have the Earth-like, but I've already got 2 Earth-likes back in the bubble. I don't need to get greedy. I'm really at this point just starting to look more for interesting views where I can really kind of stretch my legs a little bit and build something that's kind of worth looking at. Let's actually get in the old Jane Goodall. Oh, and I finally bought a Cobra Mark V, by the way. I never thought I'd see the day where I bought a Cobra, but I was like, you know what? This one does look a little bit more interesting than the old ones. It's not just a giant frisbee. I kind of like the triangular look of it. So yeah, I finally bought a Cobra, but it's only like half engineered, so I haven't used it a whole lot yet. It's another reason I got to go back to the bubble is just to top up on some things. Yeah, just round things out a little bit. Yeah, let's take a look here. Let's go and scan some of this and see if we can really kind of get an interesting look on what a lot of these are going to have available to them, right? And then I can go and chase down my fleet carrier later. Man, he won't take too long. Unfortunately, like, everything out here has been mapped, so I'm not really going to get anything out of it. And that's fine. I don't necessarily need to map it. It's not, it's not a money thing at this point. It's more trying to find something interesting. You know, the other one had 3 geologicals. I'm curious what the third one is. I'm guessing lava spouts, geysers, and probably fumaroles. But I guess I'll find out. Yeah, let's go see this one. This one's one of my unlandables, but I want to see what kind of views we're getting out here. I want to see what we can make of all this. If I can build like a cool station or something, like, I'm cool with that. I don't mind building another Coriolis in between them. I gotta get things worked up anyways, right? Get some building points up and running. And, another Coriolis or a tier 2 stuff. That'll get me my tier 3. Because, yeah, in this system, I definitely want a tier 3. You might even get done before the old one. We'll just wait. The old one is more of like an RP kind of thing. But if we don't get any visitors out here to begin with, I guess it doesn't really matter all that much. This one a tier 3 would actually be a huge benefit to the economy and what we can do with it. So I do want to get it done. If for whatever reason, now that I have a job and steady employment. If I did decide to buy the Dodec, this would probably be the system that I dropped it in, but you never know. I'm not currently planning on getting one, but yeah, things happen. You know, I've mentioned a lot that this job is not something that I don't really like it. It's a paycheck, so I'm still going to be doing this and still streaming and still trying to turn this into more of a full-time thing. So I don't want to be going through and burning a lot of money that I don't have to. If we don't need it. I'd much rather save it for some other stuff. Man, these are all like really close. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Ow. What the heck is going on here? This is cool. Yeah, I definitely need to build some kind of station over here. The problem is I don't know if they would end up going like... I don't know if they would end up going like in between it or how it would orbit some of this stuff. I've already had issues with my fleet carrier in all kinds of weird. Oh. Hey, let's do it. Let's see if those hit. I don't know if they will or not, but they've got the expanded radius, so something should work. It's probably just like slightly too big. No, so close. So close. All right. What do we got? I don't know if I can hit the other side there. We're gonna try it. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you, buddy. I mean, that expanded radius, you don't mess with it too much. It doesn't mess around. Yeah, they're just kind of rocks. They're just kind of rocks. It's okay. But I like the layout. That's really cool. Yeah, I do want to see what we can do with this. They're still going. They're still trying. They're probably too far out. I don't know what range these things have before they just finally give up. You can't see it because I'm hiding it, but it's still listed as scanning. All right, let's just get around to the other side. Oh, that one actually hit. Interesting. That's kind of a surprise. Probably won't get the efficiency bonus, but that's okay. That's fine. Oh no, maybe I still can. Let's give it a shot. Come on. Do a nice little stop. Yeah. Will it work? Ooh, just barely. Just barely. All right, where's it looking? I gotta switch back over to combat mode. So yeah, if you have problems, I saw some more people asking about this on the forums again, with the blue not going away. It's because you're in analytics mode. You gotta play around with it a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of a cool layout. I don't know if there's any way that I can get it to work with something like right in between them. They're not quite a triangle, but there's a lot to work with here. That's kind of fun. Like I said, a lot of it's going to depend as well on whether or not we are going to ever see anything happen with the terraforming stuff, right? Because yeah, if these all end up being something that I can actually transform, that's going to be sick as hell. That's going to be like the welcome wagon to the lagoon. And who knows, there's potential for that to be the thing that happens with the HIP system. Because, I mean, terraform planets have been God-handed into the game before. We've got the economy-type terraforming that doesn't seem to do anything yet. So, you know, there's options. It could be a lot of different things. We'll just have to wait. But aside from that, you know, in terms of other things going on with the channel, you know, we'll be doing some more stuff. I'm going to try staying awake a decent amount today. I want to make the most out of my weekends when I can, you know. So it might be a 2-stream day. I want to hop back into Once Human. I'm trying to fight the level of the dinosaur gym boss over there, and he's hard. I think I might have to upgrade my weapons. So, you know, we might do some Once Human later. I was really impressed by the performance last time after all of the trouble we had when the game first came out. It seems like they've done a lot performance-wise so that I can stream it without it stuttering a whole lot. So we might do some more Once Human later this evening. We'll just have to wait and see. I do really like it, but I have kind of hit a wall with it where I got to figure out what I need to upgrade to actually move on to the next step of the scenario. But it's been fun to hop back into it. I've had a lot of fun with it. And I think for being a free-to-play game, it's pretty impressive. I'm genuinely surprised it's not as big of a streaming game as it is. You know, I know some of the big companies, they probably have some issues trying to get permission for it. But even among independent streamers, I don't really see a whole lot of people talking about it. I'm like, man, that's kind of a surprise. After how big Dune Awakening is and is from NetEase, like, I mean, everyone was streaming Dune Awakening. I guess, you know, it's the same company in the same type of game. And I think it's got, honestly, kind of a cooler atmosphere than Dune did. But, yeah, just no one ever really talks about it, and I'd like to do my part to try and get people interested in it. I think it's a very impressive game. I really enjoy it. Okay, so this one, of course, has got the token giant crater, and of course it's on the pole because why wouldn't it be? I'm not gonna build anything in the crater. That's just like, that's about as like generic as you can get. Everyone builds in the crater. Come on. You can be more original than that. I believe in you. I'd much rather like find a cool hilltop, right? But I think this is going to be my refinery planet. Let's take a look at his neighbor over there, the one just out of sight. It's still in range. All right, cool. Ooh, this one could be interesting too. I'm not really going to scan this one because usually within a system, once you found the geologicals for one, that's your geological for all of them. They're not going to find anything different. Same with the biologicals. Just find whichever planet has the most biological signals on it, and everything else in that system will be one of those biologicals. Very rarely see a whole lot of changes. It can get a little bit wonky if you find like a black hole system or something like that, because those have some unique things that don't exist elsewhere. But outside of that, you can generally just go with one and you'll be okay. If you don't actually need the map, then there's really not a whole lot of a reason to keep scanning. Now, the good thing with the Lagoon Nebula is a lot of it was explored before Odyssey came out. And the reason that is a good thing is because these still have a lot of the old planet generation on it, which means some of these planets might have some really, really cool canyons and mountains and just something interesting. And I'm already kind of seeing that there's some potential spots down here. This one doesn't have as much canyon-wise, but I'm kind of curious if I can make anything out of any of these mountains out and about. Like, I got a really big one over there. That seems like it could it could be kind of fun. Let's go see what that looks like. I've been looking at the interesting colonized buildings thread in the official forums, and yeah, there's a lot of really interesting colonized stations. I'd really like to try and build something worthy of that thread. And I feel like I get a decent enough response from my screenshots that I post on Inara, so, you know, might as well do my part. Yeah, you could do something really interesting with these individual mountains and stuff. You know, if you build a port, it flattens the top of it. So you can get some mountains, some, you know, ports and stuff built on the top of mountains. Even overhang a little bit if it's a tier 3 port. Like something like this is really interesting because it looks like it's big enough that it might not need to flatten the top of it. I could probably put something like right there in the middle and have it surrounded by the mountain peaks. Just judging by the general size of it. That might be kind of cool. I doubt I will ever be able to find this specific mountain again. We're at 17 and it's 17 and negative 75. All right, I'll try and remember that. Yeah, that could be fun. If only I had my SC suite. Oh. But I don't think it's activated when, yeah. Yeah, I cannot activate system. Because I have not officially colonized this system yet. That sucks. But once I do, I'm going to try finding something similar to this. I think we could have a lot of fun with some of these planets. All right, let's go and scan and see what our biologicals are real quick. It's only 2 planets, so it's not like a ton. But 2 planets with biologicals is really all you need. You'll have more than enough agriculture out of that. Either of these have volcanism on them? No. This one's 2. This one's 2. Both have kind of an interesting makeup. This one's 100% carbon dioxide. Okay. It has a little bit of sulfur in it. Alright, well, we're going to go to that one for now. Where you at? Did I click it? Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. Go around the other one. Oh, I'm curious. I'm really curious. Binary is rocky and ice. Yes, I know. I built. Hey, you think I know anything about colonization at this point? Do you think I don't know where refineries go at this point? Yes, I know where refineries go. You can do a lot. But yeah, these two, well, it'll probably just be this one. It'll probably just be, this is going to be my refinery body. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other 2. This one's going to be my farm. I think that one's going to be interesting. I'm trying to figure out how to make them interesting, not how it works. There we go. All right. What do I got? I doubt I would be lucky enough to get Stratum in here, would I? I wouldn't be that lucky. I think I wouldn't be the first footfall on either of these either. Why am I getting... Okay, that's fine. I've been getting a lot of bugs with my messages lately. Just not showing up or showing up multiple times and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to overshoot it. That's okay. That's what I get for chatting. All right. I want to see if I can make something interesting out of you. Let's do it. But yeah, I'd like to make it a rainbow system if I can, but Worst comes to worst, my last system already is practically a rainbow system. I can try boosting it up a little bit in high tech. I could use something like the Muon imagers and all of that, but I've already got the CMMs and steel and all that. I was really kind of surprised at how many CMMs I've got at my other port. It's just like, it just keeps making them, man. It's a lot. I'm not gonna need those for a while. Oh, Frutexa, get out of here. Get out of here, Frutexa. I don't need you. Actually, I do need you because I need to see if you look cool. This one. This one looks like it might be kind of fun. I can even tell just this far out that this has some of the old school terrain generation on it. This looks like it's got some of the old school terrain gen, and that could be kind of fun. Let's see if it gives me anything interesting. It's a very small little rock. I'm genuinely surprised that it has more than one slot. How tiny it is? God, 3? Really? How big is this thing? Only 0.002 Earth mass? It's only 397 kilometers wide and it's got 3 slots? Alright, I mean, I'm not going to say no. Yeah, I mean, that's I'll take that by all means. Let's get down here and take a look. Yeah, this has some interesting views. This has some interesting views, and it's got that nice atmospheric sky around it. Yeah, now do I get a good view of the nebula? Yeah, there we go. Like, that's the big thing with a lot of these that I'm trying to build is like, if people are going to come down and they visit or they need to pick up commodities or something, I want them to have a good view. Like, what's the point of building in the nebula if you can't see the nebula when you land? Right? So, yeah, we'll just, we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. But yeah, we got some interesting stuff. Now, the problem is I don't think I'm going to build a surface port on any of these. Maybe a tier 1 port. It's just tier 1 ports are a lot of work, man. It's practically another Coriolis, and it's all the surface landing and stuff. Now, the nice thing is with the surface ports, you can build infinite of them. So, you know, it does give you a lot of build points, but it's just a lot of work. But I mean, I see some terrain like this, and I'm like, maybe I might change my mind. Maybe I might change my mind. Because I can do some stuff with this. I can play around with this pretty easily. What's its neighbor look like? F. You're F, right? I think you're F. Last one in the chain. The last one in the chain, right? The one that's got the it's got the 1% sulfur dioxide. Okay. Okay. Give it a look. Boom. But yeah, I'm really liking this system. I just wish it was closer to the middle of the lagoon. Just wish it was a little bit more capable of being a welcome gate. Oh, that looks really pretty. That looks really nice. I've got my DEDDN up, so... Profit from Orbital Cruise. What are you doing? Did you do that? Ah, that's fine. It's fine. I was very tempted to get the get the void black paint. I don't know. I feel like Mandy's got to be kind of bright, you know? It just feels a little lost if it's not. It feels like a waste of a Mandy if it's not like a really bright paint, in my opinion. I get a nice view of the nebula. And I get the star and its daddy out there. All right. Nice. We'll take that. I gotta have EDD up because it, or ED Discovery, yeah. I gotta have it up because it converts all my images. It's a pain in the ass if I don't have it. All right, come on. Come on. Did I just not have... Maybe I did it too close. Let's get up a little bit. Get out of range there. There we go. Now it's not going to drop me anymore. I'm going to... I'm going to leave the atmosphere before I can really do a whole lot with it. But I really like that haze. A really good view of the nebula. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with this system. I can already tell. It's just what? What am I going to do with it? How do I got a plan. I got to think of it. Think of it one step at a time. First things first, build a couple satellites. Satellite and a comm station. Get some of my construction points for cheap, and build both of those with one hull. But you know, we've got other people in my squad that they don't build as many colonies, but they build bigger colonies, and I haven't really done a whole lot of that. We've got one colony that was built up that I think is over 1 billion now. It's kind of our main hub in our space. And I'd like to, I don't know, I need to put some work in to try and boost up some of mine. I've got quite a few that are like, you know, in that 20 million range. And I get bored and want to move elsewhere and try finding something else interesting new. But I haven't really spent a lot of time to actually build something up. It'll be... I'm curious how long I'll last before I get bored and want to move on to another system. Like, that's the irony of colonization, is you want to build up your systems so they can be unique systems and worth visiting. But because I'm a BGS player, I also want to make sure that I'm not constantly getting left behind and have to constantly start wars in new colonies to get my PMF up, right? So, you know, I don't want to get left behind. I'm always moving so that I don't have to, like, do all of this shit again. Ooh, this is another good one. This is another one I can already kind of tell is going to be really interesting to look at. Let's go around to the sunny side. Let's go around here to the sunny side. Get some nice views of the nebula. Got some like white sands here. I mean, it's just bacterium and Frutexa, but I mean, that's all it needs as long as it's not... Ooh, that's the other thing I need to check before we really go down here. Neither of these are tidally locked, are they? I hope to God not. I didn't even really look. Tidal, like, ice with organics, like, you can kind of work it into ag. You lose a little bit of the bonus, but they kind of cancel each other out. But if they're tidally locked, you're kind of screwed. Oh man. Oh man. No. No. That's rough. All my dreams. I can still make something out of it. We'll make it work. I believe. I gotta believe. I gotta believe. Yeah, that's gonna be tidally locked. It's gonna be rough. But a couple space farms, I can get it figured out. I can get it figured out. I won't let it get me down. Really, I just need enough that I can get some fruits and vegetables. I'm not worried about a lot of like the tourism stuff like fish and all of that, right? I mean, if I need to, I guess I can turn these into like a tourism economy. This one just seems more like just a traditional sandy body. That's okay. Give me enough time, I'll figure somewhere to build. All right. Let's oh, not you. Let's get back into space and start making our way back to the fleet carrier. Start finishing out this thing. What in the world is going on with that? That's the other thing that another bug that I've been having too, is like it'll accidentally open up my chat window when I'm not doing anything. If I click something else, it'll open up chat. I don't want to chat. I have no reason to chat. All right, away we go. What is that? 2 jumps? 3 jumps? Okay. That's doable. Oh man, that's just really rough having those both be tidally locked, but I can get it figured out. We'll have to see. The other thing is, I mean, that's kind of long-term stuff. Ag would probably be like one of the last things that I build, to be honest. I've got enough ag, like just enough to get things started in the last system. So I can hold off a little bit. But I'm curious to see what the balance pass is gonna do to some of this stuff, and see if they kind of tighten up how some of these economies work, and if that ends up affecting things like tidally locked planets being a huge negative, and instead just being kind of a negative. That might make things a little bit easier. The good thing is it's not an icy tidally locked. If it was icy tidally locked, it'd be... That's just rough. That's just bad news. Really, I just need even a couple of weak links would be fine. If I need to build a build something underneath that, build an actual orbital underneath that gas giant that they're all under. I can work with that. And to be honest, a lot of that stuff might even end up being built anyways, just by default around this water world. Water worlds are tricky. Because they get a boost to so many different things, and you don't really get to see what you are actually going to be getting out of it until the station's built. You know, my last experiences with Earthlights and Water Worlds, I had one of them that ended up a tourist economy, one of them that ended up high tech. Like, they get a little bit of everything, which is nice. It might, you know, it might fill out some of those holes that some of the negatives on these other bodies give, but I won't know until I get it built. We just gotta wait and see. All right, now the other thing is, did I get a good parking spot? That's always the tricky part. That's the hardest part about colonization, is getting a good parking spot next to the station that you're loading from. That can be the difference between 2 hours and 4, to be honest. Going around a planet's no fun. I spend probably half of my tritium just trying to repark around a body, right? Like, it used to not be bad, especially with the surface ports. It would you would be able to just like go into your system map, click on the port, and it would put you above it. And then when they redid everything to put FCs farther out and put things farther out from the exclusion zone because of Lantern's light, it messed up all of that again. So it went from being like 70% chance of getting a decent spot to being like maybe. How you feeling today? Is it a Monday? Good luck. All right, but that being said, I'm not gonna make you guys sit here and watch while I try loading up 2 more fleet carriers worth of goods. I'm just gonna chill out on this for the next couple hours. Probably put on some Babylon 5, catch up on that, and have some fun. But I do want to try streaming something a little bit later tonight. Probably switch over to Once Human, or who knows? Maybe I'll hop into FF10 and we can finally get around to finishing that. I'd like to see if we can get that done this weekend. But yeah, you know, we came, we talked. There was a lot of Elite Dangerous news, so you can kind of catch up with all of that in the VOD, or just go to any random thread on the forums and you'll probably see some discussion about it. But thanks a ton for coming along for the ride. It's an exciting time. I'm ready for Tuesday to see what happens. It's just a shame I'm not going to be able to enjoy it until a little bit later on in the week. I'll hop in and kind of glance about, but I don't know how much work I'll be able to get done in the work week. But you know, if you want to help me escape that life and have normal hours instead of being the graveyard shift, you know, like, subscribe, all of that, and we'll continue to do our thing here where we can. But thanks for spending some time with me, keeping me occupied while I run back and forth between the fleet carrier and that colonization ship. I hope you guys have a good start to your weekend. We'll be back. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.